guys are now getting your quizzes back, and I would say that I was very disappointed in a lot of people's quizzes. And I would tend to think, Diego, if you could kill the lights, please. I tend to think that you would immediately want to know, John, considering that we have a test that's coming up Friday, and these questions are like questions on the test. I would think you would be saying to yourself, oh boy, I better make sure I get these down pat, otherwise it's liable to show up on my test, and a little preparation will go a long way toward improving our performance. So, we're not gonna graph these four yet. We'll graph those in a couple of minutes. The first thing I wanna do is graph, or go through the four questions that were on the quiz. So, here's the first one. And the first question was, what is the equation of that line? Now, in general, guys, what is the equation of a line? In general, y equals mx plus b. You know what I noticed on a lot of your papers? I noticed a lot of people wrote the slope. A lot of people looked at it and they wrote 2. And 2 is the slope. But that's not what the question asked for. It says right at the top, write the equation of the line, which means, Matt, get your feet down. It means that you need more than just that. It means you need the slope and the y-intercept, and you need to write it in the proper format. So the first thing we notice is that the slope is 2. It's up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So y equals 2. Now, here's a second thing I saw probably 3 or 4 of you make a mistake with. Giselle, x. Okay? You have to make sure you also put the x in there. The x is part of the equation of the line. Davis?
Does it matter when you put the x in front or?
You should put a number in front than the x.
Oh, okay.
And in your case, a big reason why is on the second one you wrote -1, and that doesn't read multiplication. That reads to subtract, and that's why that would be wrong. Okay, so y equals 2x, and now I need to see the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. That's it, right there. 1, 2, 3, -3. So the correct answer to that equation is y equals 2x minus 3. Now, the next one that was graphed was this. This was number 2 on your quiz. And it said, what is this equation? Well, for number 2, again, y equals mx plus b. Look, the y, the equals, and the x, they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay exactly where they are. Your job is to find m for slope, b for y-intercept. Lenny, pick your head up. Now, as I look at this, what is the slope? Josh? -1. Because if you look at the slope, Melvin, you're going down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. That is a -1 slope. You could write -1, you could write -1 over 1, or you could just put the negative sign. All three are exactly the same thing. Now, looking at the diagram, what is the y-intercept? Where does it touch the y-axis?
+4.
+4, so I write down +4. And that's the answer to the second one. So the red one, the first one, y equals 2x minus 3. Second one, y equals -x or -1x plus 4. Yes?
I'm still kind of confused why I got this wrong.
Because this is what you wrote.
No.
Yes, you did. You wrote y equals x -1 and then, I don't know, +4 or whatever. That does not mean x times -1. You did not do that. So you need to write, the best way to write it is like this, or like this, or like that. But we don't want that -1 afterwards, because that looks like x subtract 1.
Oh, okay.
All right? Now, and I felt bad for you when I saw it, because it was obvious to me you knew most of what you were doing, but that last little step, that last little touch you had to straighten out. Now, Melvin, face forward. Here's the deal. What I saw, even though a lot of you got zeros on your quizzes, you would have part of the question right. Matt, I just told you a minute ago to get your feet down. And we don't rip up the papers, right? Now it's time to focus in on what we need to do. All right, so, next one asked us to graph y equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. Y equals negative 2/3 x minus 4. So now we work in the other direction. The previous problems we just said, John, that we were going to look at the picture, figure out m and b, and put them in the equation. Now I'm giving you the equation, you have to create the picture. So what's the slope, everybody? Come on, what's the slope? Negative 2/3, good. What's the y-intercept? Negative 4. So I go to the y-intercept, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to move down 2/3. I ran out of room that way. I'll go here, and then I draw my line connecting the dots. That's all you needed to do. I begin, negative 4. I move, down 2/3, down 2/3. That's all I needed to do. Now the next one says y equals x minus 3. As I look at this one, what is the slope? Positive 1. What's the y-intercept? Negative 3. Now remember, 1 is really the fraction 1/1. So I begin at negative 3, and I move up 1/1, up 1/1, up 1/1. I keep doing that a few times. And here is my graph of y equals x minus 3. Okay? Look, we've done a lot of questions like this over the last couple of weeks. Maybe you didn't quite understand what I expected you to do. Maybe you got a little sloppy and forgot to put the x into place. To me, that's not a big deal. But you need to go home tonight, and you need to just look this quiz over for a couple of minutes, even if that much, a minute, 2 minutes at the most, and walk in tomorrow ready to adjust for wherever you went wrong. And I'm creating the video now. I intend to have this up on the website a little bit later today, so things should be good. Okay, now, next step. There's one last thing in this unit I haven't taught yet, and that is how to graph these lines. What's different about these lines compared to all the other graphs that we've done so far? Well, two of them have a y-intercept, two of them don't. But do you notice how it says y equals just a number and x equals just a number? We say that that's y equals or x equals a constant. And any line that's y equals just a number, y equals just a number, x equals just a number, x equals just a number, that means it's going to either be a horizontal line or it's going to be a vertical line. Okay? So here's what the first line is. Y equals negative 2 is this line. That is y equals negative 2. Anytime you get y equals a regular number, like negative 2, it's always just a horizontal line. If I had the line at any sort of an angle, if I made the line go like this, that would be up, over, up, over, up, over, up, over. In this case, there is no x. So the slope is 0. It stays the same. The only way to get no x's in there is 0 times x. Now, a quick reason as to why this is called y equals negative 2. This is the point 0, negative 2. This is the point 3, negative 2. This is the point up here 4, negative 2. 5, negative 2, I'm sorry. Over here, this is the point negative 3, negative 2. Do you notice how every one of these points has, Jamie, a negative 2 in the y place?
Yeah.
It's always got a negative 2. Negative 3, negative 2. 0, negative 2. 1, negative 2. 3, negative 2. 5, negative 2. The y is always negative 2. So that's the name of the line. Yes?
Is this going to be on the test?
Yes.
Okay.
Next up, y equals 3. Where do you think the line y equals 3 goes? Where do you think the line y equals 3 goes? Process that. Ava.
On 3 up from the x-axis.
Okay, good. And then what do I do?
You just go over and draw a straight line.
Yeah, draw a horizontal straight line. Good. And that's the line y equals 3. So these lines are easier to graph than the other lines, much easier. The question is, are you going to remember? Because it's like a picky little detail. If you remember it, it's easy. Now, if those two lines are y equals lines, and they're perfectly horizontal, what do you think an x equals line does? Manny?
Is it like a no slope?
It is no slope, but what do you think it looks like? Vertical. It's a perfectly vertical line. So here is x equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Do I mean y equals 5?
No, I mean x equals 5. Because again, if you look at the coordinates, this is, let's see here, where it's, this is like 5, 8, 5, 6, 5, 2. See how the x is always 5? Okay? So, what we have here, it's a little bit tricky, because what axis is this, guys?
Y.
That's the y-axis. But the x equals line goes like the y-axis. It's parallel to the y-axis. So whenever it says y equals a constant, it's opposite. It matches up with the x-axis, or parallel to the x-axis. And whenever it says x equals, boys, it's parallel to the y-axis. Where do you think x equals negative 5 is? How do you think I graph x equals negative 5? Davis, what do you think?
On the other side,
Okay. How far do I go over?
5,
Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what do I do?
do a vertical line.
Sort of vertical line. Very good. Well, that's one lousy looking vertical line, but that's what it's supposed to be. Okay? So, that now covers all of the topics that will be on the test. We'll do a little more vertical and horizontal line tomorrow, a little more vertical and horizontal line the next day. Now, we need you to get out your Prelearn packet. Now, the Prelearn packet, in fact, let me get one. The Prelearn packet is a little bit different than the pre-test we've been given. What I've tried to do with the Prelearn packet was, was to be a little more specific about what would be on the test and how the test would be examined. I don't even want to say more specific, to explain it better. It says right here on the top, complete all of this packet, hand it in when you start the test, and you get 5 points added to your test score. So that's the first thing. You have to complete the whole packet, and you will get 5 points added to your test score. Next up, your test. Has to be handed in with your test. If you leave it in your locker, I'm not going to take it. You have to bring it to the test on Friday, take your test, and then, you keep this under your desk or whatever. When you're done with the test, you grab this, put it with it, bring it up, and then you get your points. Yes?
Like, are you going to be also like checking to make sure everything is correct, or you just?
I'm going to make sure that it's got lots of effort shown. Yes?
Are you gonna go over like you do with the other packets, like?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it too. In fact, we're going to talk about some of it tomorrow. So, it says here, your test will have the following topics on it. The equation of a line, graphing, including real-world applications, exponents, scientific notation, functions, and equations. It says when you do the packets on the first day, I want you to do 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19. So starting with the very first question, you're going to do number 1, then you're going to do number 4, then you're going to do number 7, then you're going to do number 10, then you're going to do number 13, and you keep that pattern up. 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. What's after 13?
14.
No, 16. What's after 16? 19. After 19?
21.
22. You're doing every third question. So you're going to go through, make sure every third question is done for this packet, and then tomorrow I will give you the correct answers to those every third questions. Then we will start, and we'll start at number 2 tomorrow, and we'll do 2, 5, 8, 11. And then the day after that, we will get started on the next one. So, starting, and you can only talk to the people you are sitting next to. You cannot get up and move your seat. You may now begin working on this Prelearn packet. You've got about, 8 minutes or whatever till class ends? All right, get started. Question? The drink of water is just like a bathroom pass. If you want to use it, you can.
Now we have.
Excuse me, yes. You start with number one, and you do every third question. So do number one, skip it, do it. Skip it, do it. Skip it, do it. Just like that. If you forget, it's something
No puedo ver. No, it doesn't. Wouldn't it be negative one?
When I put negative X. What? Do like the way you showed us like M for move or M for like slope. Oh, okay. Slope is where